If you tried cutting back on sugar and somehow ended up craving it even more, I want you to know sugar and somehow ended up craving it even more. I want you to know right now that is not a willpower problem. This is a strategy problem. And today I'm going to walk you through the 5 most common mistakes I see women make when they're trying to cut back on sugar because of crazy cravings that they have after 40, and mistakes that just don't fail, but actually make cravings work. Because here's the thing, your body has changed. And the approaches that may have worked for you in your 20s or your 30s, they're just not working for you now. And they're probably working against you now. So if you're ready to finally understand what's really going on, how to tackle those cravings, stay with me because this is truly going to shift everything. I'm Laura Tolosi, integrative nutritionist, and I've been doing this for over 35 years, and I'm really excited to hop in and dive in and get down to the nitty gritty. But before we get into any of the mistakes, I do want to offer you something, a simple reframe. I work with so many women. They come to me feeling like failures. They're doing everything right, nothing working. They've tried cutting sugar. They've tried eating clean, right? We all know what that is. They've tried being stricter, even more rules with themselves, and we know how that works. And every time the cravings come back and they feel even worse about themselves. And sometimes the cravings come back even stronger and they really want to give up. They blame themselves over and over, the name blame. So I want to say this very clearly that you're not failing. The approach you've been using just isn't designed for your body at this stage of life. And that's okay because different stages need different things. After 40, something fundamental shifts. Your hormones change, they're going up and down, and that affects how your body responds to food, and that's okay. Your blood sugar becomes more sensitive to these hormonal shifts, and this directly impacts your cravings. So there's nothing wrong with you. Your stress response, that becomes more reactive as well, which means the emotional and physical cost of trying harder is actually higher than it used to be. It's having a greater impact on your body. The women I work with, they are some of the most amazing women, number one. They're motivated, they're disciplined people, they run a career, they run their families, they don't lack willpower. They've just been handed the tools that weren't designed for them. So I'm going to share what is actually the best for you in this stage of life. This all changes today. Now we're going to get a little into the science of what's going on in your physiology. This is one of my favorite parts, going into the biology. So what is actually happening in your body? We'll take a quick peek because once you understand this, the mistakes will make perfect sense, quote unquote mistakes, right? In midlife, your body is navigating a lot at one time. Your estrogen is fluctuating, and estrogen plays a direct role in how well your cells respond to insulin. And I've shared in previous videos before, but just as a quick recap, when estrogen drops, insulin sensitivity, it can decrease. And what does this mean to you? It means your blood sugar swings more. They're going up and they're going down more. Your cortisol, which is your stress hormone, which I've spoken to in other videos prior as well, it tends to run higher in midlife for many women. High cortisol drives your blood sugar up. It is so important to notate that. This then drives insulin up, which then causes a crash, which then drives cravings. So it's this vicious loop, this cycle. And here's the piece that research really illuminates. Processed sugar, especially when consumed in the context of blood sugar instability. So if your blood sugar is already going up and down and then you consume the processed sugar, it triggers a dopamine response in your brain. Dopamine is your brain's reward chemical. It's a hit, it's feel good. It's the same pathway activated by other compelling habits we find hard to break. It's this reward system, right? So when your blood sugar drops and your brain is seeking fast fuel, sugar doesn't just satisfy a craving. It creates a loop. It's this hit, crave, consume, blood sugar spike, then we have the crash, then we have the craving again. And if the strategies you're using are creating more blood sugar instability, more blood sugar ups and downs, more stress, more restriction, right? That restriction is creating stress in your body. The loop gets louder, not quieter. This is why the approach matters so much, right? Every stage of life has nuances. So I'm going to talk about the 5 mistakes that are keeping this loop going, and I'm also going to share with you what you can actually do instead. So I'm going to go through each one. I'm going to explain what's happening in our body. I do like the physiology piece. And then, like I said, I'm going to give you something practical that you can actually do. And once you're finished with this video, you can actually implement. So mistake number one I see is going too extreme. What does that mean? Too extreme, too fast, all or nothing, right? If it doesn't happen on Monday, where the whole week is lost. And honestly, it makes complete sense that women do this. When we decide to make a change, we want results. We want them like right away, right? Like, boom, let's do it. We want to go all in, which is beautiful. So what do? We cut sugar out entirely, all at once, cold turkey, and we feel great for a few days, maybe, depending on where you are, where your body is in this journey, what's all the other impact inputs have been. But then day 4 or 5 hits and the cravings hit and they come roaring back. They come back stronger than before. And then there's a moment of the breakdown, having something sweet, right? Because like you just can't resist it anymore. And then suddenly you feel like you're a failure. We feel like we failed because we were doing so good and boom, we had that sweet thing. And then the whole cycle starts all over again. The body's physiology, but also emotionally. So what's happening physically? When you drastically remove something that was producing a constant dopamine, a constant hit in your body, your brain notices and it's pushing back. So it's actually amplifying the signal to seek that reward. It's seeking that reward system. It's a reward system in your brain. It's going for it. It's very hard to resist that. So now you got that. And at the same time, the stress of extreme restriction increases your cortisol. Okay, so now we got this double whammy. We have elevated cortisol, and that is one of the strongest biological drivers of sugar cravings. So you've created a situation where your brain is louder and your stress hormones are higher. This is not a recipe for success, let me tell you. It's a recipe for a rebound. So here's what you can do instead. Okay, we don't want the rebound. We don't want that recipe. What's the new recipe? So rather than removing sugar all at once, you want to start by stabilizing your meals first. We want to start at that foundation, which is always going to be our foundation. You want to focus on what you're adding, the protein, the fiber, the nourishing fats, before you focus on what you're removing. We always want to focus on what can we add in, right? When your body feels supported and blood sugar is more stable, cravings are naturally going to begin to decrease on their own. So you're not fighting your body. We don't want to fight our body, right? Let's just go with it. Let's go with the flow. You want to work with it. And that's what we want. We want to work with it. So we have to stabilize it first. That's the first thing we can do for mistake number one. Then we have mistake number two, and that's not eating enough. And specifically what I'm talking about, not eating enough. What's the big P word? Protein. Not eating enough protein within the window when you're eating. So I want to be clear because this is not about telling you to eat all day long. Not at all. I actually believe in listening to your body. So if you're not hungry, don't eat. However, many of the women I work with do beautifully with intermittent fasting and eating within a window that works and feels good for them. And so I think that can be a really powerful practice, especially in midlife, listening to their body, right? When we haven't been for years. But here is what goes wrong. Some women, they're fasting, and when they do eat, they're undernourishing themselves. They're not providing the best fuel. They may be eating clean, but not enough. Maybe they're keeping meals light and small, and their protein is nowhere near what their body needs to nourish their cells and build a foundation. And then when the evening hits, and they haven't nourished themselves with good protein, the cravings come hard. So here's the physiology on this. When you're eating and your window closes without having truly nourished your body, especially with adequate protein, your blood sugar is going to become unstable. And when your blood sugar drops, your brain doesn't calmly wait it out. It's shouting, right? It goes into urgency mood because it's going to send out the strong signals for fast fuel. And what provides fast fuel? What is it screaming for? Sugar. That's your quick fuel, right? So that evening craving or that intense craving that breaks your fast with something sweet, well, that's not failure. It's not failure of discipline. It's truly your body telling you it didn't get what it needed when it had the chance. So instead, what can we do? We can avoid this mistake. Number two, when you eat, however many meals that is, in whatever window that works for you and that you choose, you want to make sure that you have a protein foundation. Protein is one of the most powerful blood sugar stabilizers that we have. It slows digestion, it sustains energy, and it quiets the urgency behind the cravings. So your body is so wise. It's so innately brilliant. It knows when it needs to fast. It knows when it needs to be nourished. So the goal is to listen to that. And when you do, and when you do, you truly feed yourself. That's the bottom line. Not just to fill the window, but to nourish it. And when you do that, the frantic cravings, the ones that feel impossible, they begin to quiet down all on their own. Okay, this is the beauty of when we're listening to our body and listening to what our body needs. So our next mistake number three, we're focusing on when we focus on eliminating sugar while ignoring blood sugar stability. So this one is huge, and it really is directly connected to what we just talked about. A lot of women, they think the goal is to eat less sugar, which, yes, we do want to eat less sugar. Reducing processed sugar is certainly part of the picture. I'm not saying it's not, but if you're eating meals that are mostly carbohydrates with very little protein or fat, you're going to experience blood sugar spikes and crashes all day long. Even if there's no added sugar in your meal, but you don't have the protein and fat, you're going up and down. And this is the physiology. When you eat a carbohydrate heavy meal without a protein anchor or without some type of good quality fat, your blood sugar is going to rise quickly. So if we're having the whole grains without any protein to help, your body is going to respond by releasing insulin to bring it back down. But when insulin does its job too efficiently, the blood sugar can drop too low. And there it is. That's when the cravings hit. That's the signal for more sugar when your blood sugar is too low because your insulin spikes so high. So as research is showing, it's not just about the sugar itself, it's about the insulin response. Blood sugar stability is what truly matters. So what do we do instead? You want to build your meals around protein first, and then you add your complex carbohydrates and your healthy fats. This is so beautifully simple. The simple shift is how you structure your plate. It creates a slower, more stable blood sugar response, less spiking, less crashing, less urgency for something sweet. So you're not cutting anything out, right? You're not cutting things out. You're anchoring your meals so your body stays steadier throughout the day. And that's how I like to focus by adding things in versus cutting things out. So I just want to take a quick pause here for a moment. And I do want to ask you something. I want you to think when your cravings do hit, do they feel more physiological in your body, like hunger or low energy? Or do they feel more emotional? Like there's something behind that, like you're just needing some type of comfort, because there is a difference. So drop in the comments, physical or emotional, and I read every single one of these comments. I love to see your comments, and I also want to answer your comments, but your comments are going to help me create content that actually serves you. So if you're not even sure what the cravings are coming from, which is also very common, then you need to take a step back and we need to even go more foundational because they can be both at once. And I have also included in the section above a free guide that entangles that. It's already linked in the description. It's your hunger guide, and you can grab that too after the video. So let's move on to mistake number 4 now. Relying on willpower. And I see this all the time, relying on willpower. This is the one that keeps many women stuck. And it's not their fault because we've been told our whole lives that self-control is the answer. And this is the one that makes me go up a wall. Just be stronger. Just resist it. Just say no. You have no willpower. And I want to say something that I truly believe here. Willpower is not a strategy. I don't care what anyone else says. It's not a strategy. It's a finite resource. And it's completely outmatched by a biological signal, a biology that was created for survival. So here's what I mean. When your blood sugar is low and when cortisol is high, when dopamine pathways have been activated over and over again, and you want the hit and you want the reward and the reward signals, your brain is sending a powerful, urgent biological message. This is biology. That message is not coming from a place of weakness. It's actually coming from a place that our body designed as survival. It's coming from your body trying to protect you. So you're not going to be able to out-discipline. And I hope that makes you feel better. You can't out-discipline a hormonal signal. It's not a fair fight. I have worked with women who are incredibly high-achieving women. They're running businesses. They're raising their families. They're the primary breadwinners. They're managing everything. And yet they still felt like failures because of this damn craving thing, because they couldn't resist a square of chocolate. I'm here to tell you this is not a discipline problem. That is a biology problem. It is a biology that we can absolutely support. Hormones are driving your appetite. Blood sugar is driving the urgency, and dopamine is driving that hit, that repetition, right? That reward center. So none of those respond to willpower. They respond to support. How can we support those biological, physiological responses in our body? So what can we do instead? When your body is consistently nourished, you need to nourish your body. When your blood sugar is stable, when your nervous system feels safe in your body, the urgency of cravings decrease on their own. So you don't need more willpower, okay? You need more support. And that is actually good news because support is something you can build, okay? I build support with my women all the time. So important. And the final mistake I'm going to talk about today is ignoring stress and your nervous system. So this is one of the mistakes that doesn't get talked about enough. And for me, because I worked with all these women, it's blaring. Let's paint a picture. This might be familiar to you if you've had a full day. You've been managing, you've been responding, you're multitasking, right? Like we're all saying that that's great to multitask. I tend to disagree. And anyway, caregiving, maybe work has been relentless, deadlines, you're working 10, 15-hour days. You've been holding a lot for other people, maybe, right? At the end of the day, you reach for something sweet. Does this sound like you so far? Here's what I want to offer you. In that moment, sugar is not the real problem. Sugar is actually it's your solution at that point in the day because your body has found something to help a problem that hasn't been addressed, which is the safety in your body. So what is the real problem? The real problem is that your nervous system, it's been in a state of chronic activation, and not just for a day. It's been desperately seeking relief. After 40, many women were carrying decades of being on, right? Raising children, careers, whatever. We have been on, we've been managing, we've been producing, we've been caregiving, and a body accumulates that load. Cortisol, the stress hormone, it runs chronically elevated. And one of the most direct effects of elevated cortisol is the increased cravings for the sweets, these high reward foods, right? That reward, that hit. So it's not weakness, it's physiology. And so here's something I find really meaningful. Your nervous system isn't asking you to restrict. It's not asking you to do that. It's asking you to rest. After decades of output, it needs regulation. It needs moments of genuine calm, of presence, of peace, whether it's food restriction or the restriction of joy or rest. Any type of restriction is adding more stress into a system that's already stressed enough. So here's what we do instead. So even small amounts of nervous system regulation can reduce cravings more than cutting sugar ever could. So we got to get foundational here. We want to get strategic. We want to get the most bang for our buck. So what do? A short walk outside, 3 deep breaths before a meal. Slow down. Sit down to eat without your phone. Get rid of that damn phone. These aren't small things. They are direct inputs into your physiology. So when your body feels safe, it stops reaching for the sugar as a coping mechanism. Sugar is your coping mechanism when your nervous system is dysregulated. So let's figure out how we can bring that back down. So now let's put it all together. Little quick recap. The 5 mistakes: going to extreme, not eating enough protein, ignoring blood sugar stability, relying on willpower, and overlooking stress. They all have something in common. They treat sugar as the enemy, and they treat restriction as the solution. But your body doesn't need an enemy or more restriction, right? We don't need that. It needs support. It needs stable blood sugar. It needs consistent nourishment. It needs a calmer nervous system. It needs to feel safe. When those things are in place, the cravings, they stop shouting. Not because you silence them, not because you crush them down, but because your body is no longer needing them. And this is what midlife sugar freedom actually looks like. Not white knuckling through another week, not fighting yourself, not building a uh, a feeling that you've been doing something wrong all the time. You want to live in a body that works for it, not against it. and you deserve that. So if this resonated with you, I have a free gift for you. It's called 5 Ways to Kick Sugar Habits for Health and Hormones. And it's a guide that I created specifically for women navigating this part of their life, this midlife, the cravings. And inside, you're going to find a hormone friendly eating strategy that supports your body, like I was just sharing, without deprivation. It's all in that guide. How to identify hidden sugars that are quietly driving more cravings. And there's targeted nutritional support for hormonal shifts of midlife and some simple nervous system tools that make a real difference to really begin to feel that safety in your body so you no longer have those cravings and that cortisol spike. The link's in the description. Go grab it now. And before you go, I would generally love to hear from you in the comments. Which of these 5 mistakes have you been making, or maybe more than one? And there's no judgment here because goodness knows most of us have made all of them at some point. I know certainly I have. Drop it below. I read every comment. And if you found this helpful, please like, share, subscribe, but also more importantly, share it with a woman in your life who really needs to hear this, who's been beating themselves up, but who really needs to look at this from a different point of view, a different perception. So many of us are working so hard and blaming ourselves when really we just need to give our bodies a little bit more support, a little bit more love, and really, truly a different, better approach this time in our life. Thank you. I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.